Well, the Eagles just made a sneaky signing in the midst of a playoff week. Maybe not for now, but for the future. We'll take a look at that. Also, if you didn't believe me yesterday, Jalen Hurts is back on the practice field. We'll get an update on Jordan Love as well. And finally, take a look at a comparison of Hurts and Love and ultimately tell you why Hurts is the better quarterback. We'll get into it all, but welcome into A to Z Philly. I'm RB. Do me a huge favor, man. Like the show, subscribe to the channel. Over 50% of people that watch these videos are not subscribed, so help us get to 10K. We'll start it off with a stat here of the day. Shout out to John Frisella on Twitter. Only 3 quarterbacks have led their teams to the NFL playoffs in the past 4 seasons consecutively. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, and who else? Jalen Hurts. That's right. He's the man. He's healthy. He's back. We'll take a look at that. But Jalen Hurts got this team here. He played really good football, especially down the tail end of the season until he got hurt. And I believe he's going to come back stronger and better than ever. But it's glad to hear Nick Sirianni say that he's back and practicing today. And we'll take a look at that. But in the meantime, you know Howie Roseman doesn't sleep, right? Howie Roseman doesn't sleep. He doesn't, take days off. And they're in the midst of a playoff week, right? They know what they have to do, execute. Howie's like, all right, let me go pick somebody up. So the Eagles earlier today signed former Vikings first-round safety Lewis Cine off the Buffalo Bills practice squad and onto the active roster. Another Georgia Bulldog added. That's right. That's right. ESP here says, good signing. Cine was a first-round pick in 2022, like the upside. Hasn't had a lot of experience. Kind of has bounced around to a couple different teams. He was with the Vikings, the Bills. He was a first-round pick back in 2022. And guess what? He was on those championship teams, with the likes of Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter. And who else? How about Nakobe Dean, right? Nolan Smith. He was there with these guys. So I'm not saying that this is a home run signing or anything like that, but to pick up a former first round pick, a guy that gives you safety depth, right? Obviously they have decisions to make on Reed Blankenship and all that moving forward. They have CJ GJ, but even as a guy who can come in, looked at a few of his highlights, couple big hits, couple big time highlight plays, and a guy who just has that Georgia Bulldog mentality. And I do think that there is something to be said about coming back to play with some of your college teammates, right? Maybe that will boost his morale a little bit. Maybe he can find his footing. You look at some of the guys last week that played like a Tristan McCollum, didn't necessarily play well the entire game. So maybe they're bringing in Lewis Cine for a potential guy to build up in the future, a guy to develop here in Philadelphia, and maybe can find his role in special teams or as a backup safety or whatever. But good to have him back here with the other Georgia Bulldogs. And this just feels like one of those Howie Roseman sneaky signings, like an Isaiah Rodgers that just comes out of nowhere. You're like, who is he? Like, what happened? But now he's a member of the Philadelphia Eagles. And we'll see what happens from there. Maybe he'll be on the roster next season. But let's talk about who's on the roster now. Let's talk about who's back. It is Jalen Hurts. There was literally a million videos that came out about Jalen Hurts at practice today. Nick said he would be out there. It almost felt like training camp with all these practice footage videos. But here is John McMullen says he is back. And then we get a video from John Clark. Look at Jalen, man. He didn't have his helmet on. He did it first, then he took it off. But here he is doing some throwing drills and getting ready with Eagles practice. Very cold out there. Obviously a brittle week, but we'll see how he looks. We'll see how he moves. I mean, obviously he had to clear concussion protocol, and we said yesterday that he would be back today, and obviously he is. So this is a wonderful sign. There should not be any doubt about him playing now this weekend, and hopefully he's not rusty and he looks good. But he is a professional. He'll get back on there with his teammates. Meanwhile, on the other end, Jordan Love says he has no more numbness in his hand, but does have some soreness in his throwing elbow, which is why he was limited today. So most of the Packers that were, limited or whatever, like they're dealing with little minor injuries, they all practice today. But Jordan Love did admit that he has soreness in his throwing elbow. In my opinion, that is a much bigger concern than what's going on with Jalen Hurts. I mean, we saw the injury. He came out of the game last week, couldn't finish the game, and they lost. And then you look at Jordan Love. I mean, you're a quarterback, right? I mean, in your throwing elbow, that is not a good sign. If somebody on the Eagles line goes out there and hits him early, who knows what's going to happen, right? I'm not saying they should do it intentionally and target him, whatever, But that's how these players' mindsets are. They know Jordan Love's not 100%. They know he might not be able to throw his deep ball with 100% accuracy. So they're going to go out there and try to rough him up a little bit. That's who this Eagles team is. That's what their defensive identity is. They are a bully. They're going to go out there and punch you in the mouth. It's one of the main reasons I love this team so much, and I love how they play and how they attack and how they approach games. And their defense always comes out and sets the tone. So I'm sure that's going to be something on their bulletin board this week at practice. Now, when it comes to Jalen Hurts and Jordan Love, ESP put out a pretty good breakdown here on Twitter. We'll do an official preview in a couple days, but the reason the Eagles are most likely going to win this game, one of the main reasons, is because Jalen Hurts is better than Jordan Love. Now, I'm not saying Jordan Love's not a good quarterback. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve his flowers. You know, he's really developed. He's blossomed well. He got paid. But as ESP says here, the main difference between Hurts and Love is that Hurts is consistent. Jordan Love is not. He says that Love is capable of making throws Hurts cannot, but Jalen Hurts does all the little things, right? Jalen Hurts makes big plays on big downs. He takes care of the football. He's been much better at that than Jordan Love. And Jalen Hurts is 46-20, while Jordan Love is 18-15. Sure, there's other factors that go in. How good's your defense? How good's your running game? But people always try to discredit Jalen Hurts when what he does with his legs also makes a huge difference. He is dynamic. He makes winning plays. That's a reason that he just wins games. He's a winning type of quarterback. Here are some different statistics and how they differ. Jalen Hurts, 79%, 5th on target throws. Jordan Love, 73%, 29th. Bad throws, Jalen Hurts, 13%. Jordan Love, 18%. Adjusting completion percentage, Hurts is number 1, 81%. Jordan Love, 74%. Simply put, when it comes to hitting an open receiver, Hurts is better than Love. So while Love may have these boom or bust type of plays, Jalen Hurts does it longer and he does it more consistently. Here's another big stat. Jalen Hurts on third down, 92.5 passer rating this season, 62%. Look at Jordan Love, 89 passer rating with 58%. So Jalen is much better on third down. Now, who takes care of the ball more? Coming into this season, right? Even in the first week, Jalen had 2 interceptions. So if Green Bay fans have not watched the Eagles and they don't understand how much this guy's improved since the bye week, they're not going to get it, right? They're going to think back to week 1 in Brazil on a crappy field. No, this is different. Jalen Hurts has not really turned the ball over, and obviously he got injured at the end of the season here, but he was playing fantastic football. Like the Eagles, one main concern was please stop turning the ball over, and that's exactly what he did after week 5. Jalen Hurts has 5 interceptions this season and an INT percentage of 1.4, while Jordan Love had 11 picks this season and an INT percentage of 2.6. Jalen Hurts was better against the blitz, 7 touchdowns and 1 pick with a 77% completion percentage adjusted, while Jordan Love was 10 touchdowns, 6 picks, and a 72% completion percentage adjusted. So while Jordan Love may take less sacks, while he can avoid pressure and get rid of the ball, he does throw it into harm's way a lot more than Jalen Hurts. And I think a big part of that is what Kellen Moore has done to make the game simple. Like I said all season long, establish that running game, get that going. Then you start to find Jalen in these 5-10 yard routes. Then you start to hit AJ Devontae, and this Eagles offense can just beat you in so many different ways. So it doesn't just have to be Jalen Hurts playing hero ball 100% of the time. He doesn't always have to win the game. And I think with that comes a lot more comfortability and how they kind of get him settled into his rhythm. And that's going to be a big key this week. So like ESP says, is it possible Love outplays Hurts? Sure. Love has a higher ceiling and is capable of special plays. Like I said, he developed for a couple years. He sat behind Rodgers. Like he saw great, but Jalen Hurts is the more consistent quarterback. He's obviously been here to the playoffs more as a starter, and he knows what it takes, right? He also had one of the best games of his life in the Super Bowl. So I have no questions about that. As long as he doesn't come out rusty and as long as he can get into his flow early, I think Jalen Hurts will outplay Jordan Love. And I think that's one of the main reasons that the Eagles will get this dub on Sunday. But give me your thoughts down below in the comments section. As always, appreciate everybody for tapping in. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. That being said, I'll catch you on the next one.
Discover BetMGM Casino and leap into a world filled with all your favorite casino games. Plus, plus exclusive ones you can't find anywhere else. And progressive jackpots that keep growing. All of it right at your fingertips. Bet MGM Casino. Start your adventure today